It is the Lynch Mob right here on your Classic Metal Show with Subliminal Dream. And we want to thank George Lynch for being a part of the Classic Metal Show again. That interview that was never supposed to happen, never again.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Well, it's too late now. The cat's out of the bag.
No, don't let them know.
Or the Lynch is out of the bag.
Don't let them know that we did that
Lynch bag.
Well, considering that it was set up by both Rat Pack and our guy Kevin, both who were part of the problem before.
No, we were the problem, dude. They were just correcting the problem.
They were the correctors of the problem.
Right.
So I would say that we're probably on good footing at this point.
Yeah, right. Well, when you're dealing with the powerhouse known as the Classic Metal Show, what do you think? Did you ever stop to think, and this is not to pat anybody on the back, especially ourselves, what do you think, what do you personally believe our reputation among what's left of the record labels and, so on and so forth? I mean, is our name a household name among them, or are we just like the scourge of the bunch, or what?
It's hard to tell. I know some places don't like us. I know some love us. A lot of this has to do, a lot of the interviews that we get and whatnot has to do with my personal history with the publicists.
Right.
Because I was friends with these guys, all the way back when a lot of them were interns for other companies.
Right.
So they've grown up and formed their own, agencies and whatnot, and I've always stayed in contact, so we get a lot of interviews that way. But I don't know. I honestly, I don't think about it. I know we've definitely been turned down from stuff because we're the Classic Metal Show, and I also know that we've gotten stuff where we're like the only internet show that will get anything,
right? Because
we're the Classic Metal Show. Right. So
it's a double-edged sword, my friend.
And the ironic thing is, how I am about interviews. I hate them. I get that people want to hear them. I get that it's a necessity, but I don't like them. I mean, I've interviewed everybody I would possibly want to interview at this point. There's no one out there. There's two I want to interview, Elton John and Neil Diamond. Those are the only two that are out there that I have not interviewed.
Right. Well, like tonight, we had Stacey Blades, obviously not a household name, not somebody that's a notable name in this genre.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed the hell out of talking to that guy.
Well, dude, I've said this a million times. I think I said all the way back to when we were interviewed on the About Heavy Metals website.
Right.
I said I don't like doing the big interviews. Remember he had one of his questions was who's your favorite interview? And my first response was, I don't really like interviewing the big name guys because they all come with their canned answers.
Sure.
I like interviewing the little guys that, A, will tell you more, and B, they're just they're more fun, and you can do more stuff with, and you can ask a little bit more riskier questions with. Or for guys like you and I that are not necessarily mainstream fans, we get, if there's an interview that I have not done yet, it's David Roach from Junkyard.
Okay.
And nobody knows who the fuck that is except me.
Right.
But I love Junkyard. I have all 5 albums, which is probably 4 more than anybody else ever bought. And I, to me, that's a good interview. To me, that's a better interview than Ozzy Osbourne.
Right.
And I'm sure like tonight for you, Stacey Blades, I know you're a huge LA Guns fan.
Yeah.
And you have a close personal tie to the band. And for you, Stacey Blades definitely would be bigger than George Lynch.
Right. Well, the thing is about, like Stacey Blades tonight, and when I said I have 100 more questions, I literally had 100 more questions.
I know.
I could have kept the guy on the line for another hour, easily.
Well, remind me next time that, when you want to do it again, and I'll step out of it and let you just go, because I had nothing.
Yeah. Well, he said, let's touch base by the end of the year, let's set something up for the new year. But, there's a guy, talented, driven, motivated, been around, knows a lot of people, has got nothing to lose, not a household name, doesn't really have a quote-unquote reputation to protect.
Right, probably has a ton of stories.
And he'll let it all hang out.
Right, so maybe we're starting to fill in with those guys.
Yeah, and I like those guys better because they'll just spill the dirt, whatever it is, and it's not about getting the dirt on anybody or anything. It's just they'll tell you the truth.
You like the stuff, dude? My favorite guy that we've interviewed this entire year, from January till now, and we're having him on in 2 weeks. Ken Barr.
Right.
I love talking to Ken Barr.
Yeah, that guy's got a lot of stories.
Yeah, and I mean, could we go in there and say, yeah, let's promote your book, and yeah, here it is, and it's 300 pages, and it's blah, 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 blah. Could we do that? Sure. But I just like hearing the stories. I like hearing the backstories. I like finding out how you become part of the quote-unquote family and, the stupid shit that goes on. And that's the stuff because for as much access as I've had, which is far more than the average fan, and same with you, we don't have that access. And it's interesting to find it out.
Sure it is.
And you'll never get that from, Vinnie Paul.
No.
You interview Vinnie Paul, what's he going to tell you? Yeah, Pantera was great, man. And, now I'm doing Hell Yeah, and it's great, too. And, then I'm going to do this rock metal allegiance, and that's going to be great, too. And that's all you hear from all these guys. All these guys that have been in the business for 100 years, everything's great.
Right.
When's the last time we interviewed somebody famous, big, and they were like, this fucking sucks?
George Lynch Mob, or Shadow Life. That sucked.
And Breaking the Chains.
Didn't like it.
I like that he smashed Breaking the Chains because I couldn't agree with him more.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that production story. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I know that I hate Breaking the Chains, and I hate it because of the production.
Well, I guess in 2 weeks we could probably ask that question.
I think we should have that audio ready.
And could George have gotten a worse cell phone?
See, I don't know where he buys his cell phones at. He must find them. Just finds it on the street somewhere and uses it.
I just hate it when these guys use a cell phone that does not have a good reception.
But George always has a bad. I'll bet that cell phone is whatever there was before a flip phone. I'll bet you the thing is as big as a fucking brick, a big old brick phone with a fucking antenna on it.
Right.
Because his cell phones. Oh, and think about it, dude. We've interviewed him how many times, and he's always on a shitty cell phone.
At least 6 times.
And always on a shitty cell phone.
Yeah.
Never does he have a good phone or a landline. It's like, dude, come on. Can't they run a landline out to you in the to your cave in the desert or wherever?
I think he lives in Valencia, which is just north of L.A.
Well, they have phone companies there, don't they?
Yeah, it's right there by Magic Mountain.
I mean, couldn't he put in a phone for a month? Maybe we could hook him up with his enemy and he could learn the magic of Magic Jack.
Right. Magic Jack.
That'd be great. Hi, I'm George Lynch, and I'm Don Dokken for Magic Jack.
Right.
We hate each other, but there's one thing we agree upon, and that's the Magic Jack.
Right. And it doesn't cost a lot. We don't have much money from our 80s days.
Right.
So Magic Jack works for us.
We made $100 million in the 80s, and between the two of us, we've only got about $50 left. But that's more than enough to pay for a year's worth of Magic Jack.
Right. When I'm doing an interview for people who still care to talk to us,
right,
it's always good to have Magic Jack.
There's 3,000 fans left in the USA, and I reach them all with Magic Jack.
Right. That's great.